Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and we are continuing in my series of Record Store Day releases. And this next one is the one that I was probably most excited about as a Record Store Day release. This is Bert Jansch, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, let me know down below. But Bert Jansch, LA Turnaround, which I recently have discovered LA Turnaround is a euphemism for a drug cocktail. So, interesting. But I was most excited about this. This was Bert's 9th album. Bert is a Scottish folk musician. This was released originally in September of 1974. And the reason I was excited about it is because it was produced by that guy right there. If you can see him in the glare, that is Mr. Michael Nesmith. And Michael plays on a couple of the tracks here with Bert, and also it features, and there's a better picture of Nez back there on the back cover, also features longtime Nesmith collaborator Red Rhodes. Now this album was interesting because this was sort of his foray into more of a country type sound. Like I said, he's known for being like a Scottish folk musician, and so he went to LA, teamed up with Nez, and of course Nesmith, being Nesmith, steered him in more of a country direction. Now, Jansch was a member of the band Pentacle, which I know there's a lot of fans of out there, and after that band broke up, he recorded this album, and there were a couple of tracks that Nesmith didn't produce. Chamberton and John Renbourn's Lady Nothing, who was also, John Renbourn was also in Pentacle. And there is a short film on YouTube. I'll try to remember to include it in the link down there. There's a really interesting little film of them recording it. Now, some of the other guest musicians besides Nez and Red Rhodes, Klaus Voormann on bass. And of course, the Record Store Day edition had this little side envelope there, including the album. And I'll show you guys the record too. Byron Berline also played fiddle, and Jesse Ed Davis, who showed up on a lot. Now there is a bonus CD that came with the album that has some bonus tracks on it, some alternate takes, and I'll go ahead and pull the little insert out as well so you guys can see it. But this is a really, really, really nice album. And I might say this is Bert's best album. Now, I haven't heard all of them, so I can't say with authority that it's his best. But I can say that the album just is full of really, really nice stuff. There is a lot of lush material here. Fantastic songs. I mean, if you love English folk music, I think you're gonna really like it, and I think the little country rock flourishes in there is going to, they just add to the songs and the sonic soundscape for this album, and so it does not disappoint. And so even though there was only just a few hundred of these produced for Record Store Day, I can honestly say that if you see one of these floating around, original copies go for high amounts. If you see this out there, I think you can't go wrong in picking it up. It is a digitally sourced copy, so that's a little bit disappointing. It seems like they could have gone to the analog tapes and pulled something out. But it's a really pleasant album, and if you really enjoy that kind of stuff. Now, one more note, and just I'm getting kind of off track. This also was recorded with Ronnie Lane's mobile studio. I think Ronnie Lane's mobile studio got around probably more than Ronnie did back in those days. But just another sort of tie-in there. But yeah, I think you'll find yourself really pleasantly surprised. There were a lot of people, I'm sure, that just aren't familiar with Bert. He kind of toiled in the underground. I know toward the end of his life, before he passed away, he did a tour opening for Neil Young, and I think that was Neil just helping an old friend out. But gifted singer, gifted guitarist, and gifted writer. And this album is just a perfect example of that. LA Turnaround by Bert Jansch. Like, comment, subscribe, share down below if you're familiar with this album. Let me know. Check out my main channel. There's a link in the description box up above on this channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I usually show what I'm spinning on there. But in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.